right, here's our unit 4.1, our first unit for test review. It says, what is the x value of the solution? Now notice it's the x value, not just the whole point, just the x value of the solution. Now remember, the solution is the intersection of the two lines. So, at what point do those two lines intersect? All right, so see that they intersect right here. Now the x value is straight down to the x-axis at -1. The y value is +1, so it's -1, +1. So number 1 is asking for the x value, number 2 is asking for the y value. So it's -1, +1, right? So again, sometimes they're only going to ask you for the x or the y value. You got to make sure you have the right one. Be careful. What is the value of the solution? Now, whenever they're both y equals, you can graph in Desmos. Okay, y equals means Desmos. Y equals 1/2 x minus 6. One half x minus 6. Cool. And the other one is -3x plus 1. All right. So we have those two lines. If you can't see it like up here, you may need to move your graph around or zoom out. But I see they cross right here. So where they cross, I put my cursor there, it's going to give me the solution. And it tells me the solution is 2, -5. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and write that in. Now, my solution is 2, -5, right? But it's not, notice none of these say 2, -5. I have a 2, I have a -5. Well, make sure you read it. What is the y value? The y, x comma y, has to be c. It's not 2. I know 2 is part of the solution, but it's not the y value. Okay. Number 4, which system matches the graph below? Now, there's a couple ways to do this. Okay, you could look at every equation and try to match it on here. So I'll walk you through that verbally here. If you look at A, the first one has a y-intercept of 5. And I want you to notice nothing is graphed here at +5. So it can't be A. B has a y-intercept of -4. Looks good. With a -1 slope. That looks good. Then the second equation has a +4. That looks good. With the slope of 1/3, up 1/3. Yeah, that one looks good. So I can already tell the answer is B by looking at it and knowing that mx plus b, right? M is the slope. One second, my pen is acting up. Let's try this again. M is the slope, and then B is the y-intercept, right? So I can look at answer C, -1/2 minus 4. Sure, -4 is here, but it's not going down 1/2. D has +5. Again, it does not hit at +5. Okay. Now, another thing you can do is type these into Desmos and see if they match your equation, right? So if I dual screen this, like if I do y equals negative x plus 5, I'm looking at this, it doesn't match. Like, again, it goes through 5, doesn't match, right? But if I start graphing answer choice B, well, it hits at negative 4, hits at negative 4, x-intercept is negative 4, it looks good, And then I graph the second one, y equals 1/3 x plus 4. This one hits at 4, this one hits at 4. The two lines intersect at negative 6 comma 2, negative 6 comma 2. You can compare the graphs using Desmos if they're y equals, and they're all y equals, okay? Another way you could have done this is just by looking at the graphs and writing the equations. So like this red one, this one that's going through positive 4, and and it looks like it's going up 1 over 1, 2, 3. This is y equals 1/3 x plus 4, because I can see the y-intercept is 4, and I can see the rise over run is 1/3. And then this green one, I can see the y-intercept is negative 4, right? And since the y-intercept is negative 4, that's my b value. And then I see it's going down 1, right 1. That's negative 1 over 1, which is just negative 1, which is just negative x, right? So this is like y equals negative x minus 4, okay? So you can actually just look at these, figure out the equations, see which one has both of these, and the answer's got to be B. Okay. All right, number 5. Which system of equations matches the graph given? Okay. Now, once again, I could write these equations just from looking at the graph here. So check it out. We got this point for this purple line, and then these are thick lines, but it is going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1, it goes through the y-intercept of 1. So this is going to be y equals y equals 2 over 1 is just 2x plus 1. Okay, so just looking at this, all my answer choices, 2x plus 1 is here, so that's cool. All right, so like negative 2x plus 1, I don't know if that's, let's just check what's right for now. Now this other equation also goes through 1, okay, but this one looks like it's going down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2, so that's negative 1 over 2, negative 1 over 2, negative 1 over 2, negative 1 over 2. So on this one, it's y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 1. Okay, do I see any of these equations negative 1/2 x plus 1? No. So I know for sure these are the only two equations, okay? So I can tell you that ain't it, and that ain't it, okay? Now I want you to notice all of these second graphs are in standard form. You gotta solve these, okay? So let's solve this thing. X plus 2y 2. We've been doing this on our warm-ups, but to solve for y, I need to get rid of this positive x, and the opposite of positive x is minus x. Minus x. Remember, you put it in front of the constant. Bring this down the way it is. It's got a plus sign, so it's a positive 2y equals negative x goes first, positive 2 or plus 2 goes second. So negative x plus 2. And then to get rid of this 2 in front of y, we divide everything by 2. So remember, negative x means negative 1 x. So it's negative 1 half x plus 2 divided by 2 is 1. Doesn't that match that line? It does. 2 checks. Okay. So you may have to graph. You may have to solve for y and graph. These guys want us to check if they look the same. Okay. Got to get good at solving for y. Number 6, write the system of equations represented by the table. Now, if you've got tables and you just need the equation, well, we know the way to do this, right? Here we go. The first table, we're going to click plus sign, table, and start typing this in. Negative 13, negative 1. Now, if you only do 2 points, that's fine. If you know it's linear, but to be precise, let's go ahead and type it all in, okay? Might as well. Want the most accurate information. Double check, make sure everything matches. And then, y'all remember this one. Come down here and you do y1 squiggle m x1 plus b. It will give you your m and your b, so you can write y equals m, which is negative 4, b, which is 2, so negative 4x plus 2. Cool. Now, you don't actually have to like delete everything and start all over. You can just like replace the numbers in the table. So over here, let's go ahead and type in these numbers. All right. So double check, make sure everything matches my table. Everything looks good. So I'm gonna scroll down. My M is 2. My B is 2. So my Y is going to equal 2x plus 2. So you should be able to write 2 equations given tables because you can type it into Desmos. And then you're going to do y1 squiggle mx1 plus b. You have to memorize this. y1 squiggle mx1 plus b. Okay? Don't forget. All right. Number 7. Again, when we have tables, you can type them in. Get your lines. Okay? Now, I know it's kind of tricky when they're sideways like this, but you can do it. Okay? So let's do this. I'm going to leave all the numbers here. All right, so we type all that. We get negative 0.4. Now, by the way, negative 0.4, negative 0.4. You can just type that and click the circle fraction button because it'd be nice to get it as a fraction, right? So here, we're going to type it in. So we know m and b, so it's going to be y equals negative 2 over 5 x minus 1. Okay, so again, m we got was negative 0.4, and we know typing it in and hitting that little fraction bar, what the fraction is, right? And b is negative 1. Ooh. All right, and then let's type in the second table. Oops. All right, so the x. All right. So we got m is negative 3. And then b. Sorry. And then b equals 5. So, so y equals negative 3x plus 5. Sorry, I'm having difficulties with my pen. But that's the system of equations represented by the table of ordered pairs from lines G and H. Okay, so you should be able to get equations from tables using, once again, y1 squiggle m x1 plus b. You have to memorize that. Don't forget. All right, here we go. Last one, not number 8, I meant. Can you graph the solution set of an inequality? Okay. Now, if y is by itself, remember it's mx plus b. You're going to plot the b first. It's where you begin at negative 1. So here's negative 1. And then 1/3 x, you use your m to rise 1, run 3. even if you do it down here, okay, it'll be the same slope. But before we graph, okay, we need to circle one. Is this going to be solid or dashed? Well, it's not underlined, so that's going to be a dashed line, okay? So it's, all right. So you want to make sure it's as nice and straight as you can. Okay, and then since it is a greater than sign, greater is shaded above. Cool. And this is not a system. This is just one inequality, so that's it, okay? All the solutions are above this dashed line, not on the dashed line. So like, for example, like 2 comma 2 is a solution, okay? But anywhere in that dashed area, in the shaded area, okay? All right, what about number 9 here? All right, now we're going to just mentally think about this. If I have a y-intercept of 3, okay, and then my slope, oh my gosh, hold on one second. Okay, so my y-intercept is 3. So do these graphs have a y-intercept of 3? Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so here's the deal. Do they have a y-intercept of 3 with a slope of with a y-intercept of 3 and a slope of 1? Okay, very important. So from here, it goes up 1 over 1, that's good. Up 1 over 1, that's good. Okay, so I'm seeing that all these lines are good. What's really going to set it apart is this inequality right here. So look, this is uh, underlined. So if it's underlined, that is solid, and then greater than is shaded above. Okay, so we're going to look at all these blue shading. Which one is solid and shaded above? A, so far, has a check mark. B, that's not solid. It is shaded above, but it's dashed, so it can't be B. Okay. Okay, C is solid, shaded above, could be C. D is dashed and shaded below. That is really wrong. All right. Cool. Now, on this one, I need a y-intercept of -1 and a slope of -2 over 1. Okay. So I'm looking at A and B answer choices. Okay. Which one has a y-intercept of -1? So, unfortunately, this does not have a y-intercept of -1. That is not right. So I can kind of already tell it's not going to be A. Okay. Well, let's check down here. Does it have a y-intercept of -1 and a slope of -2 over 1, down 2 over 1? So far, so good. And then my apologies. Here we go. So my slope is -2 over 1. So when it's a less than sign, okay, that is dashed and it's below. Okay. So dashed and below. And for this one, it is dashed and is shaded below. C is the best answer. And you can see where the double shaded area is, right? Okay, one more. What is a possible solution to the system of inequalities? Okay. Now look, 0, 1 is in no shade. If there's no shade, that is not a solution. Okay, -1, -5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's in one shaded area. That is not a solution. 2, -3. Oh, okay. That's in the 2 shaded area. That has to be the solution. Let's look at 2, 4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is in one shaded area. So again, one shaded area has to be in a 2 shaded area. Okay. So again, over here. All right, and that's the review. Your test is very similar to this review. So please be careful, please study, and be ready for these types of problems on your test.